Earlier, Iranian media reported that negotiations would begin if Washington accepted Tehran's preconditions. Iran insists the talks should include Israel ending its attacks on Lebanon. The Lebanese and Israeli governments have agreed to meet for talks on Tuesday, but Israel so far has refused to negotiate with Hezbollah. Israel has launched heavy attacks in recent days, striking what it says are Hezbollah targets. The Lebanese group is allied with Iran. Lebanon says nearly 2,000 people have been killed in the country since March the 2nd. Well, Kamal Haider is standing by for us in Islamabad. We'll go to him in a second, but first to Rosalind Jordan in Washington, D.C. Rosalind, so the U.S. Vice President, we understand, is due to touch down in Islamabad very soon. Is it clear at this stage what exactly the U.S. is hoping to achieve from these talks?
Well, there are two main goals. The first one, which was one of the reasons why the U.S. said it had to start the war against Iran on February 28th, was to prevent that country from developing a nuclear weapons arsenal. We had heard the threats before, and that's when finally the Trump administration decided now, or then, I should say, was the time to act. The other reason, which became much more of a reason as the war hit its third week, was the fact that because of its geography, Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz and is basically able to prevent both military and commercial tankers from crossing the strait and heading out into the Arabian Sea and then on to the Indian Ocean. Because of that, there's been a real backlog in the transference of oil and natural gas products to the global economy. Prices of those products and their subsidiary products have gone up. There's been an impact on inflation. And certainly the idea is to try to stabilize the globalized economy and not allow Iran to control such an important piece of it.
Stay with us, Ross. Let's go first to Kamal Haider, who's in Islamabad. Kamal, so what is the picture where you are? We understand there's a huge security operation. Tell us how these talks are expected to take place.
Well, just to bring you up to date, the Iranian team, headed by the Speaker of the Parliament, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, landed in Islamabad. The Iranian aircraft was given an escort by Pakistan Air Force jets as it entered into Pakistani airspace. The Pakistani foreign minister, accompanied by the chief of the defense forces, General Asim Munir, received him on the tarmac. Then there was a convoy that led them into the city amidst very tight security. We are told that Pakistan's Special Services Group, that is Pakistan's Praetorian Guard Commando Unit, was also giving and providing security. The Iranian team, of course, says that they are here with full support and authorization from the Iranian government. We are expecting JD Vance also to arrive within the next hour or so. A very tight security indeed. Up to 10,000 security forces personnel have been deployed in Islamabad. The red zone has been sealed off, and all eyes will be on those crucial talks. The future of the region hangs in a precarious balance, so the world will be eyeing this very closely as to see what transpires and what kind of progress is made.
Ross, back to you. The Iranians have said one of the preconditions to these negotiations even beginning is that hostilities by Israel against Lebanon must stop. What are we hearing from the Trump administration on that front? How much pressure are they under on Hezbollah and Lebanon?
Well, the Trump administration reportedly has been trying to convince Israel to hold its fire, as it were, in order to not endanger this two-week-long ceasefire, which is expected to end on Tuesday, April 21st. Now, there are conflicting reports about whether the Israelis are actually going to go along with it, but it is worth pointing out that the U.S. will be hosting Israeli and Lebanese government officials here in Washington on Tuesday to see if they can work out some sort of ceasefire in that conflict. It is worth noting, however, that it's Hezbollah that Israel has been going after, not after Lebanese government targets. And so unless they're going to actually talk to Hezbollah, which Hezbollah says it won't do, then you have to question, well, what's the point of these discussions? But they are going to happen here in Washington regardless. As for the pressure on the Trump administration, there's a lot of pressure. 2 out of 3 Americans in numerous polls say that they want to see the war ended, that they think it has gone too far. They're complaining about the cost of fuel and products that are affected by rising energy costs. Inflation is going back up. That's creating political pressure for the Trump administration. And within the administration itself, there was not unanimity about whether to even start the war in the first place. And it's worth pointing out that the Vice President JD Vance was perhaps the most vigorous voice against launching the war. But now he's the one who's going to be leading the delegation from the United States in Islamabad this weekend. And it's going to be a lot of pressure on JD Vance to try to get a formidable, much stronger ceasefire agreement with the Iranians, given that he is the one who really did not want to see this war start in the first place.
OK, thank you for that. Rosalind Jordan there for us in Washington, D.C. Let me go back to Kamal Haider in Islamabad. So, Kamal, tell us more about the role of Pakistan in all this. We know, of course, they played a pivotal role in bringing about the ceasefire. The Pakistani economy also came under major strain because of the war. So they, too, have a lot to gain for making these talks work.
Absolutely. Pakistan imports 80% of its fuel and petroleum products from the Persian Gulf. The country's economy has been hit hard because of the closure of the Straits of Hormuz, although the Iranians have allowed some of those Pakistani ships to cross the Strait of Hormuz. The other important thing is that Pakistan's endeavors have borne fruit, primarily also because friendly countries like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, and also crucially China have played an important role in supporting Pakistan in this movement and are in constant touch with the Pakistani government. So an auspicious occasion for the Pakistani foreign policy, but at the same time there is cautious optimism as to whether these talks will succeed. I've been told by an important, credible source that the deal is almost done. The preliminary work has been done by the forward teams that arrived before JD Vance's arrival and the Iranian team's arrival. And there is an expectation that perhaps a deal may be signed between the United States and the Iranians. Now, these talks are going to be indirect in the sense that Pakistan will be passing messages between the two. But we are told that most of that work is done. Pakistan, of course, could not have done this alone, although it takes credit and deserves credit. But this would not have come about without the input from friendly countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Turkey, just to name a few.
Kamal Haider reporting there from Islamabad. Thank you. Let's cross to the Iranian capital now, where Zohreh Kharazmi, an associate professor at the Faculty of World Studies, University of Tehran, joins us now live. How much is at stake for ordinary Iranians in ensuring these negotiations succeed and that the war does not resume?
For Iranians, actually, it was a hope and despair simultaneously appearing when they are just talking and discussing the ceasefire negotiations. I think that as I take, actually, for Iranians, now the ball is in Americans' court. And when from the unconditional surrender, from backing Iran to Stone Age and having new regime, actually Trump is coming to this agenda of having an end game for the war in one way or the other. It indicates that where the United States stands. And I think this is the time that the United States should try to see that against the full devotion they had for Israel, how much leverage they have to convince Israel not to destroy these peace talks. So I think Iran is really firm about both preconditions and the conditions, particularly those relating to the financial issues and Lebanon. So for the Iranians, actually, they are just looking forward to seeing that what's really running on Islamabad, and they are not really very optimistic about the future of talks because there is no trust to the United States and its allies in the region. The hope in Iranians' hearts is that.
Apologies for interrupting you. Let's just move. If I could ask you, I mean, do Iranians believe they now have a greater leverage in these talks, particularly given the control they have over the Strait of Hormuz?
Sure. I think that Trump is not going to talk down the prices of the energy in coming days. And when you're talking about a Strait of Hormuz, you're not talking only about oil or LNG. You're talking about fertilizer. You're talking about helium that makes the whole industry come down. And for the breaking and bringing down the global economy, everybody would blame the United States for taking such a dangerous adventure against Iran. So the United States is in a very delicate situation, and also its allies in the region. And Iran has the upper hand both in the military side and the negotiations.
And in terms of the negotiations, we have the U.S. Vice President JD Vance leading the talks. That was on the request, I believe, of Iran. But we also have Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff involved, who were involved in previous negotiations. How are they likely to be received by the Iranian negotiating team?
Actually, when you're talking about the negotiations, you are talking about gives and takes. So I think for Iran, having these two preconditions, that one was the frozen fund of Iran, that's about $6 billion to be released. And at the same time, the Israelis to push back and letting Lebanese actually go back to their homes after months of the actually forced displacement. So and as the actually official account of Iran embassy in South Africa wrote, was that these preconditions were met by Americans. So we should see if in practice they are being realized actually in the fields of the negotiation.
Okay. Thank you for your analysis. Zohra Karansby, an associate professor, faculty of world studies at the University of Tehran.